Thank you for the introduction and the invitation to this conference. I'm going to present a joint work with Olivier Lemaitre, Omar Kniot, Ibrahim Otate, as well as Karim Henley and Clint Dawson. This talk will be in two parts, actually. The first part is about the uncertainty quantification of the 2000 Chile earthquake source parameters, where we will try to infer parameters of a earthquake model through a tsunami propagation model. So we have a gauge measuring the seawater elevation, and from this seawater elevation, we will try to infer the earthquake parameters. We will be interested in the propagation of uncertainties about this parameter, the inference of the source parameters, and the reduction in bold and underline, because I will introduce the reduction of the data with the tsunami problem. And in the second time, I will go into more detail about this reduction issue for the Bayesian inference. So it's a goal-oriented reduction method for the Bayesian inference. So this is the outline of the talk. As I said, first part is all about uncertainty quantification for the tsunami propagation problem, the tsunami problem and the inference of the earthquake parameters. And the second part is about the optimal reduction of observations in a Bayesian setting. Let's talk first about the physical model and the available data. And in fact, the first peak summarized it quite well. We have South America here, an earthquake occurring here. And what we see here is the field of seawater elevation. And we see the propagation of the tsunami going on. And 2,000 kilometers from the earthquake, we have a gauge, this dot 32412, a DART station, that is recording the seawater elevation. And from this real-world data, we will try to infer the parameter of the earthquake. The propagation of the tsunami will be done with the GeoClo software. And the GeoClo software is solving the 2D shallow water equation. I won't get into the detail of the equation, but it's using, the GeoClo software is using some adaptive mesh refinement technique to efficiently propagate the tsunami. And the station is recording this H value, which is the water elevation, the water column. Yes. Yes. So the earthquake model is the Okada model. And the Okada model corresponds to the seafloor deformation that is resulting as a static response to a single fault plane. The GeoClo software requires 10 parameters to model the Okada, 10 parameters for the Okada model. And among these 10 parameters, we will focus on 4 of them, which are the latitude and longitude, which controls, in fact, the location of the earthquake. And we will map this latitude, longitude to -1,1 for numerical reasons. The strike, which is the orientation of the earthquake, because the earthquake is anisotropic. It's not an isotropic response. And the slip, which characterizes the energy of the earthquake. And all these parameters, so x1 to x4, are uniform and are supposed to be independent in the model. This is the data recorded by the DART station, the raw data. And so, as I said, the station is 2,400 kilometers from the area of interest. And we will cut, in fact, the data. We will remove this first part that corresponds to the elastic waves propagating in the floor. Since we are only working with the water elevation, we don't care about what's going on in the floor. We are only interested in what's happening after 2 hours. And we will use this data to infer the parameters. So we have South America, the location of the gauge. This is our prior. on the location of the gauge. And the two dots, so this is a zoom on the prior, and we have San Antonio de Chile and Concepcion cities. And the two dots here correspond to two values of the epicenters given by the literature, in the literature. So the red one corresponds to the value given by the USGS, and the blue one corresponds to the value given by GeoClo. It's a GeoClo example. In fact, you can run this example on your computer if you install the software. So I talked about the prior and the data, as well as the physical model. Now let's talk about the Bayesian modeling. And I will use a simple hierarchical model with an additive Gaussian noise. So we have the forward model here. A corresponds to the tsunami propagation. E is the Gaussian noise. E will be a Gaussian noise. The mean and the covariance will be parameterized with some hyperparameters theta. And the Bayes formula will give us the joint distribution of the parameter of interest x and the hyperparameter theta, given the data y. So theta, in fact, we are not sure about what the noise is. We need to parameterize we need to, so we have some tuning parameters of the noise, like the standard deviation of the noise or the correlation length of the noise. And we will try to guess the distribution of these parameters at the same time. So we will feed the noise at the same time. Is it clear? Maybe you will see in the examples, in the application, sorry. Okay. We have theta that is parameterizing the noise with some distribution. And okay, I suppose that the parameter and the hyperparameter, so x and theta, are independent. So from my personal history, this was my very first time with Bayesian modeling and Monte Carlo and Markov chain Monte Carlo. So I did the simplest model. I use the simplest model, which is a white noise. So I have a white noise E, and the parameter here is the variance, the standard deviation, in fact, of the white noise, and we will try to guess the value of this standard deviation. The standard deviation is supposed to be log uniform, so 10 to the power theta. And we will try to guess theta at the same time during the inference. So I use this very simple model as the first try. We have a way to efficiently propagate the information. Efficiently propagate the uncertainties through the tsunami model. I will detail it later. And if I run twice the Markov chain Monte Carlo, I get two different distributions. And this was a real issue, because if I run another Markov chain Monte Carlo from another initial points, I will get another location. And actually, there is a bunch of locations. This represents the location, in fact, in the prior of the epicenter of the earthquake. And if I run several chains, I have a bunch of local minima. So this was not satisfying. And I tried to find out if something was wrong with the code. It was not the case. In fact, what is wrong is the model. The white noise is bad. Why is that? Because the white noise is giving you this kind of signal. And if you look at the error between the observation and your forward model, you get this kind of signal. So something that is non-stationary and that looks correlated after some point. So we decided to go with another model, another quite simple model actually, which is, we say if the time is less than 3 hours, so everything on the left.
Before you criticize the model, here it sounds like the MCMC is failing to explore the posterior of the model.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So it seems like the
No, but yes, if you look at, so if you look at one chain, the chain is good. But okay, I agree with you that the chain is not able to jump from one local mode to the other local mode. This is the issue.
So it's multimodal. So you can flow one mode at a
Yes, exactly. And I try to work on this issue from a sampling point of view, and I wasted a lot of time. So I went the other way. I thought, okay, let's forget about white noise and let's try to be smarter about the noise model, because obviously the white noise is a bad assumption in that case. And so, as I said, I consider white noise for a time less than 3 hours, so on the left part here, and the sum of a white noise and correlated noise for a time greater than 3. And what we will try to infer is the bias of the white noise, because there is a small bias. It's not clear on the picture, but there is a small bias. The standard deviation of the white noise, we will try to guess at the same time the standard deviation of the correlated noise and the correlation length of the correlated noise. And I use the Matten covariance in that case. And if we do that and we run the MCMC for this particular problem, this is what we get. The solid line corresponds to the discrepancy between the data and the model at the maximum a posteriori. The dashed line corresponds to a sample of the noise at the maximum a posteriori. And I cannot distinguish. I cannot say which one. If I remove the legend, I cannot say which one is the error and which one is a sample of the noise. So it's a satisfying model in that case. And if we look at the posterior distribution regarding the location of the earthquake, we have a huge concentration here, another very small concentration here of the probability density function. And we are in fact pretty close from what the literature is giving. And actually we were quite happy with that, because this is very precise, given that we only have one gauge at 2,000 kilometers from this area. And we could concentrate, I don't know, maybe a few tens of kilometers or maybe 100 kilometers from the literature. And if we look at the sample of the map, the solid lines in fact correspond to the maximum a posteriori of the signal. The dashed line to what is the default value of geoclaw that was fitted. I don't know how it was fitted, and I could not find where it was, but it is this way. And the shaded area corresponds to the map plus or minus 1 sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma of the noise. And if you look at the map plus minus 3 sigma, we catch the data pretty well. So until now, I discussed the Bayesian model and the noise model of the Bayesian for the Bayesian modeling, but I didn't say when you have to run the Markov chain Monte Carlo, you have to run 1,000, 100,000, millions of samples of the model, and I didn't say how to run this million sample. So okay, sampling from the posterior is very expensive. So we built a surrogate model of the water elevation, and to build the surrogate model, we replace the output of the tsunami propagation by a polynomial expansion. So psi alpha is a polynomial. I use here some Legendre polynomial because of some orthogonality condition with respect to the uniform measure. And we want to compute now this the coefficient of the polynomial. So we have a polynomial, we want to compute the coefficient of the polynomial. And to do that, we will use a non-intrusive spectral projection, which solves the L2, which is an L2 projection, and the formula to compute the L alpha is given by this. So the important part, forget about all these technical parts. The important part is we only need evaluation of the model at some given xz that correspond to a quadrature path. or Monte Carlo sampling, or whatever you use to estimate the expectation. So if I give you the XZ, you are able to build the polynomial chaos expansion of your model. You need the XZ and the weights.